Hello, everyone, and welcome to our YouTube channel here on every Tuesday, as usual. If you're new to the channel, you can find some semesters here regarding the wisdom of Kabbalah that might help you understand and see if you want to study. And if you do, you can always go to Kabbalah.info and get some information there. And if you like, join like-minded people on the KABU Academy. In the interim, we're going to carry on with selected excerpts, and the topic we are on is everything is obtained by the power of prayer. As usual, if you have any queries, questions regarding what we're reading, please jot them down and we'll try to find answers through the text as best we can. So let's start without any further ado. Baal Islam, letter number 57. This is excerpt number 1. Everything, small or great, is obtained only by the power of prayer. All the labor and work to which we are obliged are only to discover our lack of strength and our lowliness, that we are unfit for anything by our own strength. For then we can pour out a wholehearted prayer before him. We could argue about this, so I can decide that I'm unfit for anything, and why all the labor and exertion. However, there's a natural law that there is none so wise as the experienced. And before one tries to actually do all he can do, he is utterly incapable of arriving at true lowliness, to the real extent as said above. This is why we must toil in holiness and purity, as it is written, whatever you find that your hand can do by your strength, that do. And understand this is, for it is true and deep. I revealed this truth to only you, so you would not weaken or give up on mercy, although you do not see anything, for even when the measure of labor is complete, it is the time of prayer. But until then, believe in our sages, I did not labor and found, do not believe. When the measure is full, your prayer will be complete, and the Creator will grant generously, as our sages instructed us. I labored and found, believe. For one is unfit for a prayer prior to this, and the Creator hears a prayer. All right, this is nice and chunky. Let's go over it again. And I'm going to take it one sentence at a time. Everything small or great is obtained only by the power of prayer. Now, as you know, power is the prayer is a desire. Okay? So if I have a strong desire, I can attain something. So all I have to do is really want what I really want to attain. Obviously, when we're talking about the wisdom of Kabbalah, we're talking about wanting or feeling a lack for the attribute of bestowal. All the labor and work to which we're obliged are only to discover our lack of strength and our lowliness, that we're unfit for anything by our own strength. For then we can pour out a wholehearted prayer before him. So all we have to do is give a lot of effort and do a lot of things. Obviously, when I say do a lot of things to advance in spirituality, right? So all our effort must really be targeted from connecting to the friends to connecting to the Creator. And the more I do, the better, because as I do and do and do, what I discover is that I'm actually incapable of doing anything. And that's a good state, because that's the time when a person has a real need for the Creator. And that's called a lacking, when we have a need for the Creator, that we feel like everything that we're doing, we're just not able to overcome ourselves, overcome our desire to receive for ourselves. We could argue about this, so I can decide that I'm unfit for anything, and why all the labor and exertion. However, there's a natural law that there is none so wise as the experienced. And before one tries to actually do all he can do, he is utterly incapable of arriving at true lowliness, to the real extent as said above. So that's a just argument. Why don't we just argue or see that we're lowly in the first place? Well, that would be philosophical and not realistic. We are studying the wisdom of Kabbalah, And the wisdom of Kabbalah is called the wisdom of truth. So in order to actually attain truth, I have to first see the truth. So I can't philosophize or assume on anything. So if I want to attain spirituality, if I want to attain the attribute of bestowal, then by nature, what we do in this world for everything that we want, we exert effort, don't we? If I want to get something, I do things. So by this common law of nature, human nature, whatever I want, I automatically do things to attain it. So I can't just philosophize and say, well, I can't attain this anyway, because if I haven't exerted all the effort that I possibly can, me talking about it as if I can't do it is just philosophical nonsense. This is why a person needs to exert all the effort they can, do whatever they can, so that they come to a realization that they've done everything they can do, but could not change themselves. Right? And that will bring us to true lowliness. This is why we must toil in holiness, which means that we're just going to study the wisdom of Kabbalah and do the things that we can do to advance. And purity, as it's written, whatever you find that your hand can do by your strength, that do and understand this, for it is true and deep. So all we have to do is study and apply everything that we've studied to the best of our abilities that we can. And on top of that, I reveal this truth to you only so you would not weaken or give up on mercy. Although you do not see anything, for even when the measure of labor is complete, it is the time of prayer. But until then, believe in our sages. I did not labor and found, do not believe. When the measure is full, your prayer will be complete, and the Creator will grant generously. As our sages instructed us, I labored and found, believe. For one is unfit for a prayer prior to this, and the Creator hears a prayer. So until we do everything that we can, we can't really have a lack or a need for the help of the Creator. It's just not going to work out. So everything in life is based on effort, right? If I want anything corporeal as well, I need to apply effort. I have to try and give it my best. Otherwise, I won't be able to attain anything in corporeality nor spirituality. And what we're trying to come to in the wisdom of Kabbalah is a prayer, an original prayer, a prayer where I have a need and I cannot realize it myself. And that need can only happen, it can only be built inside of us if we do the best we can and then afterwards realize that there's no hope from my side. Excerpt number 2, this is from Rabash, article number 5. We ask the Creator to give us the strength so we can perform all our actions for you, meaning for the sake of the Creator. Otherwise, meaning if you do not help us, all our actions will be only for our own benefit. That is, if not, meaning if you do not help us, all our actions will be only for ourselves, for our own benefit, for we are powerless to overcome our will to receive. Therefore, help us be able to work for you. Help us to be able to work for you. Hence, you must help us. This is called do for your sake, meaning do this. Give us the power of the desire to bestow. Otherwise, we are doomed. We will remain in the will to receive for our own sake. All right, let's do it again. From Rabash. We ask the Creator to give us the strength so we can perform all our actions for you, meaning for the sake of the Creator. So we have to come to a state where we feel powerless. If I don't feel powerless, I can't ask for strength, can I? Right? So Rabash is saying, this is why Balastam in the previous excerpt said, I have to do everything. Everything in my power to do, I have to do. And if I do it, then we can ask the Creator to give us strength so we can perform all our actions for the sake of the Creator, because otherwise we have no power of bestowal. Otherwise, meaning if you do not help us, all our actions will be only for our own benefit. So until a person comes to a change of nature, everything he does, she does, is for their own benefit. If not, that is, if not, meaning if you do not help us, all our actions will be only for ourselves, for our own benefit, for we are powerless to overcome our will to receive. A person really needs to see that he has no power to overcome any will to receive. It's just not going to happen. You might feel like you overcame a desire today. Tomorrow you won't be able to. It will pop back up. This is why a lot of students always say, why do same things pop up? Yeah, because you haven't overcome it. You can't overcome it. So you have to learn to deal with it. How? Turning to the Creator, obviously. Yeah, that's the only way to deal with it. Therefore, help us be able to work for you. So help us to be able to bestow. So the prayer here is asking the Creator for the power of bestowal. Hence, you must help us. This is called do for your sake, meaning do this. Give us the power of the desire to bestow. Otherwise, we are doomed. We will remain in the will to receive for our own sake. So unless the Creator changes a person, there's nothing to talk about. Okay? So we can't change our own selves, our nature, that is. So the only thing we can do is to do our best, and then that should bring us to the right prayer. Okay, and that's from recognition as well. A person comes to a prayer not out of lip service, but out of all the accumulation of the work that he or she has been doing throughout the years. So this last drop has to happen before the person can just burst from his heart to the Creator and ask for some serious help. Right? Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Any questions? You guys let me know, okay? Who's looking after the questions? Anybody else isn't here, so there is one question, is there? It's okay is asking. It's okay, Jacobs. Okay. Is done everything I can do a discernment that a person has himself individually, or a discernment that the 10 has together? I think that's a personal discernment. When we're working in the 10, when we're doing our work in order to come to bestow, everybody is doing what they can. So I always have to focus on the things that I'm contributing. Obviously, the 10 working together is really important because that's where I get all the strength from, the motivation, the ability to continue. It's all the friends giving me that support from the environment, which is allowing me to do a lot of actions. So if I didn't have the environment, I wouldn't be able to do actions. And no actions means I can't see that everything I'm doing is not going to bear any fruit. So the environment is very important because that's where I'm working. That's the place where I can do everything that I need to do. So, and out of that, I need to come to despair. So in the 10, we're working, but the individual is doing all their private individual work and effort as best they can. So it'll be a personal discernment for you. That's okay. Excerpt number 3 from Rabash. A prayer is work in the heart. That is, since the root of man's heart is the will to receive, and he needs the opposite, meaning that it will work only to bestow and not receive, it follows that he has a lot of work in inverting it. And since this is against nature, he must pray to the Creator to help him come out of his nature and enter what is discerned as above nature. Let's read it again. A prayer is work in the heart, which means I have to work with all my desires. All right. The heart, as you know, it's our internality, it's our will to receive, it's all our desires. So that's the place of work. If I want to pray, I have to build a desire for spirituality. That is, since the root of man's heart is the will to receive, and he needs the opposite, meaning that it will work only to bestow and not receive, it follows that he has a lot of work in inverting it. And since this is against nature, he must pray to the Creator to help him come out of his nature and enter what is discerned as above nature. So I think we've discussed some of the things here in the previous excerpts. Let's move on to number 4. If you have any questions, though, you can always put them through. Not a problem. Excerpt number 4 from the article, These Candles Are Sacred. The most important is the prayer. That is, one must pray to the Creator to help him go above reason, meaning that the work should be with gladness, as though he has already been rewarded with the reason of holiness. And what joy he would feel then. Likewise, he should ask the Creator to give him this power, so he can go above the reason of the body. In other words, although the body does not agree to this work in order to bestow, he asks the Creator to be able to work with gladness, as is suitable for one who serves a great king. He does not ask the Creator to show the greatness of the Creator, and then he will work gladly. Rather, he wants the Creator to give him joy in the work of above reason, that it will be as important to a person as if he already has reason. All right, let's read that again. The most important is the prayer. Why is the most important thing? Because that's the result of the work. So if I'm working properly, if I'm doing the work correctly, the prayer should be the ultimate conclusion of everything I've done. That is, one must pray to the Creator to help him go above reason, meaning that the work should be with gladness, as though he has already been rewarded with the reason of holiness, and what joy he would feel then. So if I come to a decent prayer, a good prayer, then I should also feel, what should I feel? I should feel happiness. All right? Coming to a good prayer, coming to the correct prayer means I get an answer to the prayer. Okay, a correct prayer means I got the answer. So if I'm not getting an answer to all my demands, it means my heart doesn't have the real lack for it yet. Okay, because this is not lip services, you know. So we have to build a desire for spirituality, a desire for bestowal. So if we build one through the work, by praying, by building that desire in us, then the work should be with gladness, with happiness, as though he has already been rewarded with the reason of holiness, and what joy he would feel then. So if I'm praying even without attainment, but I'm praying correctly from within the right lack, the right desire, then I should already feel joy about the work. I should feel like the work is already my reward. Likewise, he should ask the Creator to give him this power so he can go above reason of the body. Now, despite the fact that we haven't attained it yet, we would still love to do so. So the prayer needs to carry on. This is why a prayer needs to accompany me with every act and intention I'm doing. Okay, so it's like a package. Right? So all my thoughts, desires, intentions, everything I'm doing in the group should be accompanied by the prayer. He does not ask the Creator to show the greatness of the Creator. So what does that mean? It means that I'm not really asking the Creator to give me something like a reward. That's not the idea. And then he will work gladly. So I'm not asking for the Creator to do something so that I can work, with full gas or full capacity. Here we want to give joy in the work for above reason. Right? So a person is doing the work not to get anything for himself, but to be able to do the work so that he can bestow to the Creator. All right, this needs to be clean cut. We're not asking for anything for ourselves. We're asking for something that if we get it, we can use it to bestow to the Creator. And this is the only reason why we're asking for it. Right? To give the Creator joy in the work of above reason. That will be as important to a person as if he already has reason. So if we get from the Creator the ability to go above reason, which is above our desire to receive, then we can bestow to the Creator. And that this will be the only reason that we're doing it for. So our bestowal or our desire to bestow must not be associated with ourselves. I mustn't associate it with my desire to receive. I must associate it with the desire of the Creator, his desire to bestow. Because if we don't have the ability to bestow, we can't get from the Creator. So the whole idea of wanting to bestow to the Creator is so that we can give the Creator contentment because he can then bestow. Does that make sense? We are not getting anything that the Creator is giving to us right now. Nothing. Except this animate level of existence. But the Creator wants to give the person everything. In order for him to give us everything, we have to be in the same status as he is. Otherwise, we'll be like house pets. And because he doesn't want us to be house pets, but wants us to be independent, people standing on their own two legs, then he wants us to also be able to bestow. So we want to bestow, but we don't want to bestow because we're going to get stuff from the Creator. We want to bestow because by giving the Creator the ability to bestow to us, he will be happy. All right, does that make sense? Okay, because if I associate what I want with myself, that's not asking for bestowal. Excerpt number 5. This is also from Rabash. What is a flood of water in the work? He must pray to the Creator to help him so he can go in the work with his eyes shut and will not need anything and will be able to do everything for the sake of the Creator despite the resistance of the body to this. That is, he does not tell the Creator how he should help him. Rather, he must subjugate himself and annul before the Creator unconditionally. But since he cannot overcome his body, he asks the Creator to help him win the war against the inclination, since he understands his lowliness. All right, let's go sentence by sentence. He must pray to the Creator to help him so he can go in the work with his eyes shut and will not need anything. What does it mean to go with eyes shut? It means I'm not seeking a reward. If I'm going to start studying, seeking some kind of self-benefit, then that's making a calculation. All right? So we don't want to make that calculation on the path. And will not need anything. So I'm not interested in asking for anything at all except the ability to bestow. So is there something that we need? Yeah, we need the strength to bestow. Okay, that is a need. So we do need that. That's true, but nothing else. And we'll be able to do everything for the sake of the Creator despite the resistance of the body to this. So we're only seeking the power to overcome the will to receive, which is called the body. That's what the body here is. Because if we want to go towards bestowal, the body should always be against that. It should always be standing in front of us and saying, what are you doing? Okay, so it's really important to be able to receive strength to overcome this inner resistance that we're always going to have inside of us. And this is why we need a good environment, because by ourselves, it's not going to work out. Okay. That is, he does not tell the Creator how he should help him. So I'm not telling the Creator what to do. A lot of friends come to me and say, well, you know, I'm praying to the Creator. I want this and I want that. Okay, for the goal, obviously. Okay. And why doesn't he do this and why doesn't he do that? Why is he putting us through this situation and why is he putting us through that situation? We don't know that stuff. We don't know. And just like a little child doesn't understand why her parents are doing something to raise the children, we don't know either. So asking that kind of question doesn't make sense. It just doesn't, because we're not at that level of understanding. So what we should be doing, the Kabbalist is saying, why are you trying to understand something that's beyond you for the moment? Just do your job, all right? And then the understanding should come later. Because if I don't do anything, I'm not going to get any understanding. So the more I do, the more understanding I will have. So in the work, you have to go with your eyes shut. Just enter the work and start doing. Nobody knows what's going to happen when kids go to school, right? On day one, they don't know what's going to happen. They just go to school. And that's it. One day their parents come to them and say, you know what, this year you're starting school. What's school? You'll see. Okay? There is no, there's no lot of explanation you can do to the kid except, well, you're going to go somewhere, make a lot of friends and learn a lot of new things. It's absolutely great. Okay? The kids think, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay? So they don't know what we're talking about. So it's just philosophy, okay? Because it's not realized yet. So for us as well, the same kind of thing. We have to go with our eyes shut. Rather, he must subjugate himself annul before the Creator unconditionally. So whatever the conditions are, I'm happy to work under those conditions. And so good. When a kid goes to school, the child does not make the conditions. The school has conditions, parents have conditions, teachers have conditions, but the kids do not make the conditions. Same in our work. So it's logical. There's nothing illogical here because we don't know what spirituality is. We have no idea. So we can't make any conditions. We just annul ourselves unconditionally, just like those little kids going to school. But since he cannot overcome his body, he asks the Creator to help him win the war against the inclination, since he understands his lowliness. So as we work more and more, we feel like we're out of strength. We feel like we're incapacitated to do something in spirituality. And then that brings us to turn to the Creator. Just like if I'm unable to do my homework, I have to turn to my parents. Same kind of thing. All right, so let's take a look at the questions. Dream Monster is asking, if you're in the middle of a heartfelt prayer and all of a sudden all the feelings disappear, is that an answer? Ooh, wow. I don't know if that's an answer. An answer to a prayer is that I've gotten a reply. A reply means I get I get what I asked for, basically. Okay, that's the answer to the prayer. If I'm not getting an answer to the prayer, or if I'm not getting what I'm asking for, well, that's also an answer, because that's like saying, well, you're not ripe yet. Okay, so that's also from the other end. An answer should be clear for us. That's the whole idea, isn't it? If I'm getting an answer, it's to a question, it's to a lack, it's to something I need. So it needs to be clear cut. It needs to be felt like understood on my part. Ingrid's asking, is spiritual attainment achieved when we don't cling to any material possession? It's achieved when we do not cling to the desire to receive for ourselves, when we let that go. And why do we lose all material desire when close to death at old age? Because we've been running around all our life and not finding any fulfillment at all. So at the end of our days, we just don't feel like we want to go after anything. This is why you find a lot of young people in depression. They don't feel like there's anything to go after in life. It's because we're maturing. We feel like there's nothing really worth going after in life. It's all empty. Empty. Absolutely. So this is why we have a problem with the new generation, which is actually not a problem. It's a sign of development. And this level of development, now we have to bring it to spiritual levels where we find qualitative inner fulfillment rather than running around or running after all kinds of gigs and gadgets, trying to find some kind of fulfillment. Rightio. All right. So it's 8:41. Let's leave it at number 6 for today. Okay, so we've stopped at number 6. Make a note. And we'll continue next week. All right, so next Tuesday, same time as usual, unless he has other plans. All right, so have a good evening. Bye-bye.